Welcome. After the excitement of a three-man techers last week, this week it's just me. I'm flying solo. It's a bit scary, but we've got lots of tech in this week. So much that there's just me because Neil's at Sea Otter, Anna's gallivanting somewhere else, the boys are in Basque Country. It's all very exciting. We've got new XC tyres, we've got new wheels, and we've got a mountain of tech from Sea Otter. Okay, as mentioned, Neil is in Sea Otter. See all the latest and greatest tech from the Sea Otter Classic Show. So with further ado, we'll just dive over to Neil. He's talking to John Hall about that rad Intense DH bike with a Pinion gearbox and much more.
Yeah, thank you guys. I've been enjoying myself here at Sea Otter. Seeing some really cool bike tech and enjoying a bit of the sunshine and Monterey down the road as well. It feels like it's been a really good year for Sea Otter, actually, from like really big stuff from brands like Giant, launching their new Trouts X, to the more smaller boutique stuff like Vorsprung and that amazing new shop they've built in Canada. So there's all sorts to see at Sea Otter. We also got a chance to go over to the Intense tent and caught up with John Hall about a really cool one-off prototype Intense downhill bike. And he also told me that part of this bike, where the shot goes through, that kind of shot tunnel, is actually 3D printed out of aluminium and then welded into the mainframe. But here's John to tell us more about this gearbox bike.
Okay, we're in California, so we've got to check out an Intense, especially if it looks as cool as this one. And we're with John Hall, ex-World Cup mechanic. What's your job role now, John?
I'm now the technical director over at Intense Cycles, and I'm there full-time and off the circuit.
So tell us about this. Obviously, it's a downhill bike with a Pinion gearbox. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, anybody close to me knows I've probably been banging on this drum pretty loudly for about the last 10 years. I've been trying to get every company we've ever worked with to pursue it. Obviously, they've been a little bit bigger and unable to focus resources on that kind of stuff. As soon as we got to Intense, it was one of the first conversations that I had with Jeff Stieber, and he couldn't have been any more excited than I was. And he loves that kind of stuff and kind of doing unique, cool things. And so it got tabled through our development process of the downhill bike, but then recently, probably about 6 months ago or so, it got brought back up through a series of meetings and some potential partnerships. And so we basically said, if it's going to take extra engineering costs and stuff, like we're probably not going to put any resources into it, but let's see if we can overlay it and put it on there without changing anything, and we could. So we changed a couple things, but kinematically and pivot point wise, we didn't have to change a single thing. So it was going to be a very easy back-to-back test.
So, I mean, we've talked about, and our viewers, everyone talks about gearboxes. We have done for 20 odd years, probably since the Honda. Sure. Do you think this is a legitimate application for a gearbox and there's a future in production of these bikes?
I think so. I've always been very real about my aspirations for a project like this. Currently, I don't think gearboxes are that set up. I'm pretty open in being saying that, and I don't think they're there yet for the trail bike community or an enduro bike. A few of like the hardcore enthusiasts will love those kinds of bikes, and there is a market for it. Not as large as like a standard drivetrain, trail or e-bike or whatever enduro bike, but I think it's a perfect application for downhill. It opens up some creativity from the kinematic side of things. All the obvious stuff, it brings the weight, the unsprung weight from off the rear wheel, low, centered, like we all know that stuff. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face, but I'm more curious in the creativity around the kinematics that you can then do with that, both with external and internal gearing. Pinion now has the Smart Shift electronic stuff that is only going to get better and lighter. I was pushing them. They obviously have bigger aspirations, but I was nudging them towards like maybe we can get a downhill specific gearbox where we can have a specific gear range inside of it, maybe a little even tidier and smaller than it already is, and things like that. So I think that's where it starts. I think it's going to have to start in the downhill market and then work its way down from there.
Super interesting. Obviously, it's a prototype bike, but I guess we'll have to watch this space.
Yeah, at the moment that bike is just a one-off, so it's unlikely we'll see that on the racetrack at Fort William when the World Cup kicks off in about a month or so's time. Talking about racing, obviously it is an Olympic year this year, Paris 2024, so cross country is part of the Olympics, and we've seen a few cool new cross country bikes, including this Pinarello that we saw at the show, which is definitely short travel compared to a lot of cross country bikes now, but the bike that Tom Pidcock and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot will be riding, hopefully at the Olympics. All that stuff is in the daily videos I did from the show, so check those out if you haven't done already. Back to you guys in the UK.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm excited by that Pinion DH bike. I guess it's the second one after the Gammux one, which, I mean, that's got a belt drive too. But yeah, what are your thoughts? I think it's probably a future for DH racing as Pinion gearboxes or other gearboxes. What about your thoughts? Put them in the comments below. Gearbox for the win? Maybe. Right, on to the news. Exciting stuff here from Vittoria. They've got not just one new tyre, but two new tyres. They've got the Peyote. I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong because previously I've got Vittoria tyres incorrectly named. I think it's the sort of American roots and then Italian roots as well, all mixing, and then me getting them wrong. So I apologise if it's wrong. Essentially, they've reintroduced the Peyote tyre. Previously, it was a sort of like soft condition, faster XC tyre. It's now a near semi-slick tyre with lots of tech in it. And what's interesting is it's got a whole new carcass using 60 TPI versus a really high thread count. But it's meant to work all in conjunction to create a faster rolling tyre. But key, we've got the stats here, 11% increase in grip, especially in the wet. So it's a fast rolling tyre for modern XE courses. So it's a big high volume 2.4, but it's got more grip. Really interesting tyre. The other tyre that gets a refresh from Vittoria is the Mezcal, which has been around for a while. It's like a fast rolling tyre with lots of linear shapes. Essentially, it gets the new construction of this XC casing. So again, 60 TPI casing should match with the rubber, so opposed to being really light and probably not supportive. It's all meant to gel and work together. So again, faster rolling than the outgoing version and with more grip. And interestingly, again, it goes up to 2.4. So interesting stuff. Okay, slightly controversial. We've got some new wheels now from Hope. I mean, Hope doing wheels is not controversial, but these are new gravel wheels. I'll say it quietly because I know some people around here aren't that keen on gravel. But these new wheels look really good. The RX24, it's tubeless ready, it's alloy gravel wheel set, but it's designed around a 24mm internal rim width. So it's compatible with the higher volume tyres that gravel bikes are running. They come fully taped, they've got new tubeless tape, and as with all things Hope, they come in many colours. Prices are fronts from £230, €300, and rears from £350, €450. Available from the 1st of May. I think they're really interesting. And bonus mountain bike piece is that because they're designed around, well, gravel bikes are using old mountain bike tech. So if you've got an older mountain bike, maybe like I might have one in my shed, you could potentially get these as replacement wheels, assuming it's 29. But anyway, really interesting that gravel is growing so much. What are your thoughts on gravel? Are you a flat bar gravel fan, or do you prefer drop bars? Let us know. Okay, switching gears and jumping from gravel or flat bar gravel to the raddest part of mountain biking, which is downhill and intense. And that new M1, it's finally available for release. So it's that new high pivot 6-bar proto bike that was running pretty much all last year. It's now a production bike, and yeah, it's available to buy. It's from €3,600 or 3,200 UK pounds. And yeah, it's available for pre-order. I mean, I've got to admit, the M1 for me was one of these iconic DH bikes, and this new one, it just looks amazing. So if I was ever to race DH, it'd be amazing to do it on one of those. Thankfully, I'm kind of a bit slower and a little bit older these days, so I don't think I'll be racing DH anytime soon, but watch this space. Should I race DH? Would you like to see me fail and race at DH? Maybe there'll be a video coming soon. Let us know in the comments below. From downhill to cross country. I think that's why I really like mountain biking. It's such a broad church. We've got such diversity in the sport. It's brilliant. Anyway, cross country tyres. We've got some new ones now from Hutchinson. So French manufacturer who are making or remaking their iconic Python tyre. So they've got two versions. They've got the Python 3, actually their third version of the Python. To my eyes, it looks very, very similar to the original. It's now a bit bigger, it's 2.4, and it's 29er as well now. Yeah, it's not really a semi-slick, but it's got lots of interlocking spaces, and you've always on a sort of section of tread knob, so it rolls really quickly, but it's also got lots of working edges. So the newer tyre, which is called the Python Race, well, it forgoes those. That centre section of tread shrinks down and it becomes almost a semi-slick. So it is a real race tyre, perfect for a big race that's happening maybe this summer. I can't put my finger on what race that would be. Already got podiums at the World Cups though, even just this weekend gone and the weekend before that in Brazil. So Sevilla Blanc on the Ford Rock Rider team, proving that this new tyre from Hutchinson is extremely fast. It's very light as well at 600 grams, so it looks like a very quick tyre. And jumping back to downhill, we've got a new limited edition range from Seven Protection or SeveniDP. Seven Protection, not related to the Motocross 7, it's a different 7. But yeah, they've got a limited edition release of holographic stuff. So you've got the full face helmet, which has got this really nice wrap of this holographic material, or sort of graphic. We've also got the knee pads, the Sam Hill knee pads, and gloves as well, limited to only 500 pieces worldwide. So yeah, something to look out for. We've covered lots of stuff in Sea Otter. Neil's done a lot of videos there. I think 3 days worth of videos. So if you want more Sea Otter tech, then tune in and watch those. We've got the WeAre1 prototype downhill bike. We've got the Pinarello Dogma XC full suspension and hardtail. So yeah, check out those amazing videos from Neil. Quiz time. I love quiz time. I hope you do too. Let us know if you like quiz time because yeah, it's you that make quiz time, not me. So last week we were talking about the RockShox Silo because RockShox have re-released it. And we were saying, when the RockShox Silo was re-released, what was unique about it? And yeah, lots of people got it right. It was adjustable. I think the first version was called U-Turn, but our friend Tim, hi Tim, he said all travel or vari travel, which was essentially the ability to change it from 5-inch to 4-inch. I think it was from 80mm. It was even shorter because 80mm was long travel back in the day. And yeah, the fancier version had a U-turn screw adjuster. It was really fun, but lots of winners there. So thank you very much. So on to this week's question. We talked about the Hutchinson Python and we talked about how it was raced to gold medal victory in the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta by actual legend, Paolo Pezzo. But what was special about this race? Let us know in the comments below. Just for pride points, obviously, but let us know. And now my favourite bit. Genuinely is my favourite bit, which is comments. And we were talking last week with our 3-man techer, where we got lots of people in here, all about what old tech you'd bring back. And yeah, I think lots of people thought I was a bit of a grump, but I wasn't. I was just being realistic. Anyway, Work Less, Ride More says that he'd be forced to pick into skinny tyres, front mechs, elastomer suspension and stanchion covers. Although he's quite glad he don't have to ride that old stuff. I agree. Some of the old stuff looks nice in retro stuff, but actually rides awfully. Like, yeah. Anyway, the Red Spoon. Front mechs are still rule in some applications. I love the fact that you can dramatically change your gearing by the push of a button. I agree. On one of my gravel bikes, I have got a front mech. Lots of people laugh at it, but it is great for that huge change in range and having nice steps. So front mechs, almost dead on mountain bikes though. Okay, Andy the Architect. What's the criticism of stanchion covers? He'd got a set of RST forks in the 90s with them and they kept everything inside nice and clean. That's true. They did help a little bit, but they were really easy to get kind of crud and mud in. And then as you were riding up and down, that crud and mud would just sit on that rubber cover and grind your fork stanchions off. So they were problematic, unfortunately. Right, another question here. Oh, Rich, my first mountain bike had 54 centimetre bars. So 65 centimetre bars aren't even close to being narrow. Yeah, I agree. I think I had some extremely narrow bars back in the day. So yeah, 650, it's not that bad. I thought 690s were wide. Don't worry, I have moved slightly forward. Andrew 3460 says he'd bring back front derailleurs over rim brakes. He's still got an older bike with XTR 3x9 and disc brakes. It works great for what I do. Well, good for you. That sounds excellent. And it's also, I think, key to, if you've got an old bike that still works and you still use it, well, still use it, because that's brilliant. D&D Initial says, I can't wait to see how we look at the current tech in 30 or so years. Agreed. I feel like some of the stuff we will laugh at, but a lot of progress has been made. I mean, what's your favourite feature or favourite tech? I'd say say from last 5 years. Let us know in the comments below. Cool. Finally, what are we looking forward to this week? Well, we've got a video on post-winter overhaul. So if you're just dragging your bike out of the shed and giving it a prep before spring, or you've got spring's happened and you want to do a little bit of check over. We've also got a detailed video on how to make your brakes perform better. More modulation, more power, and reducing fade. So all covered in that amazing video. But yeah, let us know your comments. Don't forget to answer the quiz, and yeah, don't forget to ask us, Ask Tech as well. We can help you ride better.